Hey, yo, what up? Welcome back. There's not a podcast. It's just my thoughts with Rob Markman. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting, sharing, liking, subscribing, and all of that. A couple things going on in the news this week. Then we're going to get to Ab-Soul. I know you see the headline. But first, we talked about how Tyler, the Creator's new album, Chromacopia, is dropping on Monday. That's Monday, October 28th. All right. So now we have a time from when the album is dropping. All right. The album is dropping at 6 a.m. Eastern, which is different. All right. We all know that records come out on Thursday at midnight going into Friday Eastern time. And Tyler had said in his Nardwuar interview how he wanted to change that, or how he felt like we would get a better album listening experience if it happened at the beginning of the week and not the end of the week when people were busy doing things over the weekend. So, I mean, one, the intention that Tyler has is always dope. We can see the intention with this album and the rollout that's happening with the tour announcement, with just the look, the feel of the album, the colors, the texture of the album. Noid is the new video that he dropped, which it just looks dope. I can't wait to digest this album as a whole. So when it drops on Monday, we're going to check that out and see if hearing an album on Monday morning makes us feel any different. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tyler for that. In other news, Glorilla's Glorious debuted at number 5 on the Billboard Hot 200. She sold about 69,000 album equivalents, and it makes her the highest first week debut of any female artist in hip hop for this year. I still think it's dumb as hell the way that we calculate sales in music. If it streams, call it streams. If it sales, call it sales. But the math on the streaming to sales equivalent just is not mathing to me. It never made sense. I feel like that's going to change soon. A lot of things are changing. I feel like that's going to change soon. But regardless of that, I'm happy for Glow. You know, the album is dope, so I'm definitely happy for her. Then there was Punch's tweet. You know, earlier this week we talked about Kendrick's interview in Harper's Bazaar. He sat with SZA and they transcribed the interview and put the interview out. A lot of people felt a way about that. I know Elliott Wilson, for one, was calling it out, but a lot of people were calling it out about Kendrick not sitting with a true hip hop platform. And I get it. When I made the video in real time, I wasn't mad. I just didn't feel mad. You know, a feeling, right? Like you see something, it makes you feel happy, it makes you feel sad, it makes you feel mad. I didn't realize while I was reading the comments that some of y'all in the comments was like, oh, you know, how come you don't criticize Kendrick? And I was like, oh, am I supposed to be upset? Like, I just didn't feel upset. I don't know what to tell y'all. And then people try to call it a bias. Oh, if it was Drake, you know, that whole thing. So anyway, there was a lot to talk about that. And Punch had tweeted, I respect hip hop journalism and feel it's needed in its truest form. It keeps the culture alive, but it's only a few real ones left. Most of you guys are trash, just my opinion. That's why artists don't want to talk to you. And I didn't chime in on this on Twitter at all because, one, I knew it wasn't about me. Like, I just knew it wasn't about me. And I spoke on this last week. You know, we had this conversation last week or 2 weeks ago, and I made a video with y'all saying, do y'all want to see interviews? Because me as somebody in media, as somebody, a journalist, as somebody who loves doing interviews, yes, of course I want to do interviews because I love doing it. Like, I love having these conversations with artists and then bringing these conversations to y'all to bring insight into how our favorite records get made. So I absolutely love it. And you know, my career has thrived because of it. So yeah, absolutely. But it really boils down to the audience. What y'all want. Y'all get to dictate what y'all want. The audience, I think, sets the mark. If the audience craves it and demands it, I do think the audience will get it. And then it boils down to whether the artist wants to do it or not. So that's why when I made that video, I posed it as a question. Well, what do y'all want? I wanted to hear from y'all. What do y'all want? Do y'all want the interviews? Is that still important to you? Because maybe it's not important to you guys anymore. Maybe that's why artists don't do them as much. But I just wasn't mad at Kendrick for speaking with Harper's Bazaar. It wasn't a hip hop interview anyway. They touched on Not Like Us, but SZA didn't dive deep into the questions. It was more about growth and spirituality and maturity and this. It was kind of what I expected from if SZA and Dot sat down in the media at Harper's Bazaar and had a conversation. So for that, I wasn't mad at it. It was good. And I wasn't mad. Y'all can go look at old tweets. You know, whoever's really good at digging up old tweets, I can go look at old tweets. I wasn't mad when Drake did Bobby Altoff either. Like, I just didn't react and like upset. or when he did the interview with Yachty, and that it was the sunglass, the weird kind of sunglass thing that they were selling. You know, I think you got to look at an artist as a whole. Like, I think it's okay to do these one-off things, these what I might call a stretch opportunity or something outside of your wheelhouse. But, you know, are you still making room to sit with hip hop? You know, it's not about it if you're exclusively sitting with hip hop, but are you still making room to sit with hip hop? And I do have some thoughts on that. I've said this before. I think hip hop is better when it's communal. And there are a lot of us, me, myself, but a lot of other journalists who are hip hop inherently, we come from the same neighborhoods, have the same stories. There's a lot of people in media and journalism who cover hip hop who don't come from it the way that we come from it. But there's a distinction about those of us that come for it. You know, it's the same way where if a rapper gets big, like, yeah, work with hip hop producers. It'll be weird if you blew up and then all of a sudden you blew up off of hip hop and then you're like, man, I'm going to work with Max Martin. Or, you know, and commune with hip hop DJs. And, you know, I just think this thing is our thing. And if we want to thrive and grow, we should all fuck with each other. And this whole thing about where hip hop journalism now and in relation to the artists doing or not doing interviews, I think it's a bigger conversation. I would love to have that conversation. I think we need a roundtable though. I just didn't think anything was going to get solved on Twitter. So I didn't partake in it. But I have strong feelings about this. And me and Punch spoke. Punch knows my feelings about it. But I want to create the right platform to talk about it too. So, you know, we'll see. But I didn't really want to get into it. Y'all, if y'all watch the channel regularly, y'all know my thoughts. Y'all kind of know where I stand. And we did a video on it last week. So there's that. But all right. So on Monday, shout out to my man DJ Hed. DJ Hed, speaking of hip-hop artists going to hip-hop platforms, DJ Hed and Gina Views have a new platform called Effective Immediately. Shout to them, congratulations, and you know, I love to see the growth of that platform. And they dropped an Ab-Soul interview with their show. I'm gonna drop the link in the YouTube description. So Soul's new album Dough Burger is coming out on November 1st. The album's dedicated to his late friend Dough Burger, who passed away in 2022. And Soul talked about the album, and he talked about his late friend, and he talked about his legacy and wanting to be regarded as one of the best rappers. And he talked about J.Cole and the song that him and Daylight did with Cole on Might Delete Later, Pie. And he even revealed that Kendrick heard Pie before it dropped. Why is this relevant? One, I mean, it's just interesting backstory. But two, you know, that last week we spoke about it. I made a video. I said not everything is a diss, right? When, you know, there was speculation on the internet that J. Cole had dissed Kendrick on Pie and Ab-Soul and Daylight were on Pie and it made them look bad. So then Ab-Soul spun the block and threw a shot at Cole on Squeeze First Part 2, right? Where the line was, Minnesota warned me they want a war, but they actually forfeiting like they wardrobe for half of the week. So people were saying, oh, that was about Cole, and Cole had shots at Kendrick on Pie. And there was these speculations and theories. And if you look at, and Ab-Soul doesn't answer the question outright from what I saw, but if you just kind of look at the interview, doesn't seem to be any beef. It's no smoke. Like, you know, everything's not a diss. So in this clip right here, Ab-Soul talks about Kendrick hearing Pie before it came out. And because the backstory is that Ab-Soul felt the song was first just an Ab-Soul and Daylight song, and Soul, and then Cole jumped on it and just went crazy. And, you know, Ab-Soul and Daylight were just doing a back and forth playful thing, and Cole just went nuts on his verse. And, you know, Soul was taken by surprise. He was telling Daylight, like, yo, you got to warn me before you bring one of the top guys in the game on the song that we did together, like, because my aim was this, and now it sounds like this. And he sent the song to Kendrick, and Kendrick was like, nah, y'all got to put that out. That's hard. The record is hard. So Kendrick heard the record before it came out.
With like us being on that project, I mean, I think it was just like lyrically, I mean, to be honest, like I asked Dot if it was cool. Like I said, yeah, and not even, and this was like, not even, I asked him like, not in the sense of like Dot's so cool. He like he ready to like it's a friendly fade. You should keep it. We have fun with this is the culture.
He with all of it.
We with all that. Like
It's rap. It's rap.
This is what we came to do.
People,
we did this in the street. Like that's what I'm saying. Was you at the table? Like if you wasn't at the tables, like getting it in. Like we used to pull up like in the back of the industrials, like. In battle for real, like that's really what we come from, and it's fun. Like steel sharpens steel, like you feel me? And I sent it to him like, bro, did he kill me?
What'd he say?
He said, no, this hard. Y'all did your stuff. Like this hard. Let that fly.
And then ultimately, you know, Ab-Soul talked about Cole being the homie. He was very clear that Cole is the homie, and that he respected the stance that Cole took by bowing out of the battle. So here's what Soul said about that.
Had you had a conversation with him before or after after he went on stage and like said what he said?
Nah.
Okay.
Because I personally respect Cole's stance and all of this, man. It's the road less traveled.
Yeah.
He taking like the like a very, very mature, progressive stance because, you know, like everybody on some like, you know, I'm gonna stay out of it for the most part and just say that I respect his stance.
Yeah, for sure.
He's taking a scenic route, which I really respect.
There's still gonna be people who just don't buy it or think there's a cover up or think there's something. Look, I think there's enough smoke in the air now that you don't really have to. Soul doesn't have to shy away from the smoke if there's smoke in the air. You know what I'm saying? Like there's enough. We've seen enough. This year, we've seen how bad it could get, and I think even if Soul and Cole were to go at each other, I don't think it gets as bad as what we saw between Kendrick and Drake. Even if Kendrick and Cole end up going at each other, I don't think it gets as bad as what we saw between Kendrick and Drake. I think if it did go there, it would be kind of a friendly fade, you know, as they say. And that's if. But ultimately, I really just don't think anything's there. I just don't think these guys really feel that way about each other. There are going to be people who see these clips and be like, nah, he's covering up. Nah, he's just being not like, I get it. But in just watching this, it just confirms to me that there's no smoke here. That I don't know that this amounts to much of anything. But, you know. That's it. So let me know what y'all think, man. Y'all seen it, man. Shout out to DJ Hed. Shout out to Gina Views. Did the good interviews. I like to see it. Besides that, I'm looking forward to next week. Soul album is dropping. Tyler Creator's album is dropping. Earth Gang is dropping the album. It's going to be a good time next week. We're going to have lots to talk about. So let me know what you're checking for. Like, subscribe, comment, do all of that. Until the next time I see y'all, all right? Peace.